Hello, friends. I know I always share from my own experience and my own deepening process that many of you can probably relate to, because I do see that we are all going through this huge shift, this huge transformation, where we are basically dropping into who we are as a part of the field, as an expression of the oneness. And we have been living as if we were not part of the field and not part of the expression of oneness. That's why we have been living in what we call duality. And that is shifting. If you haven't noticed it yet, it is falling apart. You can just look out your window or watch the news. You'll just hear how everything is so beyond chaotic. And all the things that we have been depending on, they are crumbling. So, yes, it is probably going to be a little rough for a while, but it's good to at least be mentally and emotionally prepared for that so that you can go to this place inside, which is one with the field, the invisible field. Just because it is invisible to us, to our five senses, to our eyes, that does not mean that it doesn't exist. And that's why I think these times are really important for us all to start tuning in to the field as opposed to getting so distracted by what is going on in the world. And it is intense, it's going extremely fast. So, it's normal that we want to kind of know what's going on and follow it and know how we can prepare for it inside to stay safe. And so that's normal. Don't think that shouldn't be there. But getting lost in it and getting too much distracted by it, that is not helping the process. I talked the other day about what was called the vibration of manifestation, because there is this deepening happening in me where it feels like I'm just dropping in. And in that, I also feel that there is an intention, the longing that I talk about a lot. If we make our longing our most important intention, then you'll notice that you are not separate from it. So, if we want to set an intention, we need to know how to deal with the distraction. And the distraction is, of course, always up here, manifested out there. And as long as we believe that the out there is real, and so it's kind of hard to not be distracted by it because it throws us into this whirlwind where our emotions get activated and our mind is trying to figure out what to do about it, all while not realizing that the field, the invisible field, the heaven on earth, it's all here, but it's not visible to us, but it is here. And like I often talk about, the way you will know that it is here is because you are longing for it. So it's not a mistake that you're longing, to go back home. The H is with a capital H, the real big home. There is a longing in most of us simply because we feel done with this outer drama. Not everyone. Many, many people are still very involved in the drama. But I think because it's getting so loud and so crazy that at a certain point you just go like, I just, first of all, I can't even follow what's going on. It's beyond me. And second, you notice that you lose interest in the drama, in the trauma, in the circus, in the actors. You start seeing through it, literally. You just see the whole thing as one big show. Bad show, no, maybe a good show. It's well done because everybody believed it and got pulled in. So fair enough. Nice job, well done. I am going to leave the theater though because I feel something pulling me. And that is what we all feel in our heart as a longing for more peace, more love, more connection. How about more sanity, right? And all these things are already here in and as the field. And we are part of that field. We are not separate from it. The reason we feel separate from it is because we have been turning away from it. Sometimes I feel I'm repeating myself like a parrot, but I do also know that when I started out on my spiritual journey with Joel Goldsmith, you can watch one of my tapes with him. I just had to listen to it again and again and again. The same tape. I think there was one tape called The Deep Silence of My Peace. I listened to it once or twice a day. So that's how long it can take for these things to sink in and move through this density that we have been programmed to believe is the truth. So that's why I find it okay to keep repeating myself, and I do it happily because it also gives me, a reminder if I need it, or maybe a deeper clarity of it. So here we go. We long for this peace, this oneness, and we can feel it here. It's underneath all that craze. If you're too identified with it, if you're too attached to it, or maybe too excited about it, because there's also many people who like this kind of engagement and excitement, and they are not ready to let it go. So let them. Let them. We all have our turn in that. We've done it. We've had a lot of, you know, merry-go-rounds in this circus called the Matrix. Not everybody has had enough yet. Let them have another ride. It's all meant for that. It's just meant to come and have experience upon experience upon experience. But now we have come to a point where that outer circus drama experience is not feeding us anymore. It's certainly not feeding our soul. It may have fed the mind for excitement and experiences, but I think it's running dry for most of us who are at least connected to something bigger. And that's why there is this thing inside that goes, okay, now I want to know what this is. And then we go ahead and set an intention. And this is what I talked about the other day too. When you really set that intention, first of all, you'll notice all the reasons why you can't or shouldn't or don't want to or are afraid to. That will come up right away. And the reason we haven't set the intention is because we have been listening to all this distraction. So I think happens for all of us, that we need to meet this, what I right now call distraction, in order to stay with the commitment of our intention. So let's say you want to live in a world, you want to have a life where there is peace, where there is a connection, there is people connect with each other, we help each other, There's something there. And again, for you, it's going to be exactly what it is that lights up in you that you want. So don't say what I say. This is what I want. You know, you go inside and find what you want. And if you do need help with this deeper exploration, you're welcome to reach out. In the description below, there is a link where you can set up a self-discovery session with me. But my whole life is about this merging back into the field. And I know that most people, they still want experiences. They want spiritual experiences, right? But that is not necessarily the same as merging back into the field of oneness, the field of peace, the field that Rune talked about, beyond right doing and wrongdoing. There is a field. So we need to always get beyond that right and wrongdoing, the blaming, the shaming, the finger pointing, the excitement, the fear, the drama, whatever it is. That's all that duality of right and wrongdoing. So we want to really know first, do you really want this, whatever it is for you? Do you really want it? If you don't really want it, don't worry. Go and do whatever you really want. There is something else you want instead. So stay with that. That's why a lot of people, they want these experiences because they have not exhausted that exploration yet. And that's fine. Like I said, you and I have done that. That's what it's like to be here until you kind of get fed up with it or full. And then you want to go back home. So if you are here, really honor that this is what you want, even though your life may look like it's completely impossible because there's all these strings pulling at you, right? So how can I just leave that behind and focus on a whole new world, a whole new life, which is based on very different values that our current world situation is in. But if you really want it, my friend, that's it. That is it. And it's not a mistake. And it's not something you have to go out there to create, maybe by creating peace in the world, unless there is this deep felt sense here motivates you to go and do something. Not from here, but from here. So when you set that intention, you take some time to really, really feel that. You want to feel there's going to be a lot of feeling good about it. It's like, yes, I really want that, right? When you let yourself have that, I really want that. It comes with an energy and an expansion and a good feeling. That is your connection with the field. That's when the little frozen drop dips into the ocean. It goes like, oh, I want to be back in the ocean, but I'm so frozen. I still need to do this and that. That's what I want the peace, but I still need to do this and that. So little by little, we need to let ourselves drop back into what we really want. Sometimes it can be immediate. It's not little by little for everyone. Again, it's a very individual process. Once you feel that, when you stay in that, you'll notice that there is, well, I talked about the ripple effect the other day, but the ripple effect is, of course, coming from inside. I do use different metaphors at times, depending on how it comes out. Today, it's really getting clear on your clear intention with a sense of, yes, I want that, or like, oh, how wonderful. That would make me so happy. You see, there is an expansion, there is a high emotion, a high frequency emotion, I think also called an elevated emotion. That's actually the first time I heard that was from Dr. Joe Dispenza. And actually, he did say a clear intention with an elevated emotion, those two together, that's when you hit a home run. But we need to stay with it. It's not just enough to know that or hear somebody talk about it, hear me talk about it. It's a matter of taking this seriously if you want it, and then feel what it is that you want. And then you take time to feel it with the joy, with the gratitude, with this elevated emotion of yes, thank you. Yes, please, thank you. This is a frequency. And that is like the ripples. You are now an outgoing ripple from that heartfelt intention. So you let it ripple out. And the more you can stay in that, the more the field is going to kind of going, it will get in the same rhythm, right? So you and the field is now one. So it's not like, oh, I'm rippling here and the field is over there. No, when you let yourself drop into that intention and longing, then it's like the drop falls into in the ocean, and then the drop just, you know, resonates and moves along with the ocean. So the intention, it has a field, it has it has a ripple, it has a frequency, and we it's like you need to get a ride with that. You take a ride, that's a good one. Take a ride with that intention into that frequency of joy or whatever it is for you, and then let it just ripple out. Now your own field becomes filled with that ripple. And then things can start showing up in your life differently. Now, the caveat is that it's the distraction that I mentioned. And the distraction is, I want that. Like, no, you can't have that. And then I think I mentioned yesterday, it's like you stick, you put a stick in the field. And so the ripples, they can't get through that. They kind of have to go around it or above it. And that creates lack of coherence. And then that ripple effect will come back. And then that's why we keep experiencing, I can't have it. Just look at the ripples. I can't have it. But we're not aware that that lack of it is caused by that distraction that we are all subject to 24/7. So it's not all that easy. But getting back to that intention and really, really committing to that. And then whatever ripple come, whatever outer ripples, like you can't have that, nobody's done that before, who do you think you are? All that stuff that comes. That's when we need to hold very steady in our intention so it can stay connected with the field frequency that we want to experience. We don't want to keep experience those big waves and tsunamis that we have been experiencing, that everybody is. And then we leave and start battling it out there, and we leave this. So it's learning to keep coming back to our intention and not to bypass any of this, but to learn to be present with it and allow it to be there. Feel the impact that it has without identifying with it. And then the more we do that, it's like we really start becoming one with the field. And then it will become more and more natural just to live in that place of the depth of our longing. If you need help, as always, you are welcome to reach out and get help with finding what it is you really want, what's getting in the way. The thing about the distractions that get in the way of our intention, that is the work. That's the work for all of us. Maybe for a very long time, maybe just for a day. We don't know, but we cannot avoid it because then we bypass it. And as long as we bypass any of these things, these are ripples, these are little eddies that just keep doing their own thing and prevent that ripple, that beautiful, peaceful ripple, to become our life experience. We keep having these things that we really don't want. It's like these stakes we put in the field that stop the ripples from rippling out and becoming. I know we talk about that they come back to you. That may be true. I don't really know that. I just know that the feeling of the whole thing is one, and I want to stay dropped into that one and staying with the good feeling of the intention of what I really, really want from from deep inside of here. All right, friends. Please comment, share, like. I'd always really, really appreciate all your comments. All right. Have a wonderful rest of the day.